Hello again. The most extreme expression of psychopathy is unadulterated cruelty to people and an addiction to the energy that comes from this cruelty, particularly for young people. So therefore the darkest of dark must be child trafficking, child abuse, ritual stuff, and all this dark stuff. Now, there is no dispute amongst anybody, I would have thought, that this happens. The dispute is how much it happens, how serious it is. The skeptics will say that it is an exaggeration, this is very rare. But there is no evidence for that. In my practice, over the years, I have been in some ways overwhelmed by the amount of abuse that people tell me that has happened to them throughout their lives, particularly in their early lives. And it's been very clear to me that this has caused huge disruption in their lives. Not just the phobia and the post-traumatic stress and the complex post-traumatic stress that's accumulated in their lives, accumulated through also how they've been treated and how they're treated at work. But also it's expressed physically within themselves, contributing to all the conditions that stress makes worse and somehow is at the root of many conditions. Blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, whatever. And sometimes these stories only come out when somebody's in their 7th, 8th, even 9th decade. And then we add to that the effects of this on the generations to come, and generations that have been, the effects of this on split families. And we see something very murky. And I have no doubt in my mind that this darkness has been hidden and underemphasized. And we know that. We also know that those who have been shamed and abused sexually and with violence in their early years have their own conscious development interfered with and can become very damaged emotionally and physically, but also may perpetuate this for further generations. The evidence is that those who are abused in their pre-pubertal state will have their emotional and sexual energy somehow stunted at that stage, and particularly also those in the pubertal stage. And as far as the abuse that's occurred in the Catholic Church, it's clear that this is one reason why everything is perpetuated and has been for many generations. So this is indeed a very, very dark aspect of humanity. And I'm trying to visualize it. Initially I was thinking it was like some horrible invading weed plant that seems to have infiltrated many of our organizations and those in power, but also infiltrated into every aspect of our lives, big and small organizations. A further visualization has been like a sticky tar that has sort of engulfed us, rather like how the tar from that terrible oil spill some years back in the Gulf of Mexico, how that had sort of engulfed and suffocated life there and continues to, and how difficult it is to extricate and clean this off. the living creatures that were there. Similarly, I see this as an awful plight. I think we're at a time that this can be no longer be ignored, and as evidence comes out for this that nobody in their right mind can ignore, the implications are huge, and those involved in the perpetration of this will surprise many, although I think many are waking up that it's certainly not in the obvious areas that we've come to expect, the dark, let's say the dark criminal elements that are so prominent on our screens. It seems to be coming from within society, so-called respected society. There's no doubt that this is an issue that, as it's going to be exposed, there's going to be a lot of turmoil. I think we're in the process of that. We see how it's linked to war, to drug running, to cover-ups, to blackmail. I've said before that I believe blackmail is more rife than bribery in the upper echelons of society. Fear tends to dominate this. So this is the worst aspect, as far as I can see, of psychopathy. And it is one of the reasons that we need to understand this, that our leaders need to understand this, and also not be shocked when it is exposed. They may well be red-faced for a certain amount of time, but that's not important. It's more important that if this happens, they admit that this has been an oversight, not just in their generation, but many generations before, and that it has to stop. So thank you for listening, thank you for subscribing, thank you for adding your comments down here, and I'll see you later. Thank you. Bye.